Thanks for coming to Politics and Life. This is Jordan. I hope all my freedom-loving patriots are having such a blessed day. What a night it was yesterday for President Trump. What a speech it was. I think, to be honest, in my opinion, that was his best speech yet. He paid tributes to law enforcement, to a child with cancer that the Democrats couldn't even stand up for, applaud for. I think the Democrats' behavior was absolutely disgusting behavior. And the fact that even MSDNC, which is a paid propaganda for the Democrat Party, came out against them shows you just how terrible the Democrats' behavior was on display last night. I guarantee they lost millions of voters, but we will welcome all voters because it is time for a political awakening to happen, not just in the U.S., but worldwide. And I believe that time is now. Anyways, today we have Piers Morgan Uncensored having a debate between two Republicans and two Democrats about Trump's speech. Can't wait to get it started with you guys. Please like, comment, subscribe. If you want me to speak about anything in the future or react to any patriotic America First videos, just let me know in the comment section. Let's get it started, y'all.
Debate, I guess, but it has got an extraordinary amount of traction. This idea of whether Zelensky should have worn a suit. Do you think it matters?
I think that people just don't like Zelensky. And so I think sometimes, you remember this from the schoolyard, if you don't like someone, you start to make fun of some aspect of the person, how they dress, how they look, whatever. But I don't think it's really about the suit. You know, Winston Churchill looked great in his frilly burgundy in the first 6 weeks. And
I don't care to talk about the Ukraine war, so I'm trying to skip to where they actually debate about the speech last night. Sorry, guys.
As you say, Piers, the speech was extraordinarily well received.
There we go.
CBS News, which is no fan of President Trump, had a poll out right after the speech, showed 76% of viewers approved of it. And when you drill down into specifics, the numbers only got better from there. The key to the speech was that President Trump was having a good time and the Democrats didn't know how to react to that. And then he had that one little trap for them. He said, I've come up here 5 times and these people won't applaud anything. I could cure the worst disease. I could accomplish the greatest feat. These people will not applaud for me. And he made the Democrats look ridiculous because they had their noisemakers and their signs. And he dared them. He said, I dare you to stand up. They wouldn't do it. They're so intransigent. And so at one moment, as we know, is probably the moment that stole the show, Trump had a 13-year-old boy who's fought cancer for 6-7 years, made him an honorary Secret Service agent. If there's one thing in the country that everyone should agree on.
That was one of my favorite moments of the whole speech with Trump. I mean, the fact that the Democrats couldn't just put politics aside and stand up and cheer for that guy, that young man who survived cancer and wants to be a police officer, which I have nothing but respect for our cops, shows that they are really against the people. We already know they defunded the cops and that the Democrats are not for law enforcement or police, or order, hence why they had an open border for 4 years and let record amounts of illegals come across into our country, while our taxes is funding them to get free everything for 4+ years. Now we have an America First president who is shutting that shit down. Border crossings are down about 95% last, I believe he said yesterday, and I'm 100% in support for the closed border.
And that's a really sweet moment. And these Democrats couldn't be bothered to stand up. Many of them couldn't be bothered to clap. They looked awful. I think it was a nasty thing for the Democrats to do, but they just looked so awful. No wonder
Piers,
Trump is getting great marks in the polls.
Piers Morgan Uncensored is now proudly independent. If you like the show, we ask only one thing. Yeah, Jojo, I actually want you to respond, but only after I've played the clip. So let's.
Anyone who doesn't know, the two on the right are Democrats. The woman is a disgusting human being. Anything who knows anything about Jojo on X, aka Twitter, she's pretty much one of those people who says MAGA or Make America Great Again or America First or Trump supporters, a cult. And the guy right next to her is just as disgusting. And then we have Michael Knowles, conservative, who I love. Matt Slapp, also conservative as well.
Play the clip that Michael just alluded to about this young boy.
Tonight, DJ, we're going to do you the biggest honor of them all. I am asking our new Secret Service Director, Sean Curran, to officially make you an agent of the United States Secret Service.
Speaking about that clip, which was one of the best parts of this whole speech, there was a Democrat congresswoman, I don't know her name, but I can get it after this video. It shows her on video during this exact moment closing or covering her ears and shaking her head while he's honoring a young kid who survived cancer, who wants to fight to protect our country. Despicable display from the Democrats. Kid's a hero.
Thank you, DJ.
Jojo, I've got to say, this is a kid who 5 years ago was given 5 months to live with brain cancer. I lost a very close friend of mine to brain cancer recently. It's a horrific thing for anyone to have, whether you're a young guy, whether you're an older guy, anyone. The idea that you could have a moment that heartwarming, which should be just a moment of levity, of unity for all Americans to go, you know what, that's great. Look at that kid. He's still here. He's living his dream. And he's getting this moment. The idea that that would be turned into a political protest by so many Democrats in the room who not only refuse to stand up, but actually refuse to applaud at all that that young man got his moment. I thought that was utterly reprehensible. Do you?
Well, here's what I will say. My heart goes out to DJ. I am a mom. My daughter is 12. Almost 12. My son is 15. I also have lost friends to cancer, and I would have probably stood up and clapped because it was a very emotional moment. But what we are doing now, what is happening now, is that young boy's story is being used and corrupted for more political.
No.
How is it being corrupted? All Trump is saying is this kid's a hero. He honored people who love our country last night in his speech, and now she's going to say he was used as a cop, or not a cop, a prop to make Trump look good. No, Trump just respects our military and our cops, as he always has. It's really that simple.
No. Wait a minute.
That's exactly what you just did. But that's exactly what you just did.
Hang on. The corruption, if you like, the political corruption of that moment and that boy occurred the moment the Democrats decided not to applaud him. In that moment, they made it a political firestorm quite deliberately.
But let me ask you, let me ask you a question, Piers. What do you think does more for someone like DJ? Standing up and clapping at an address of Congress, or funding childhood cancer research? Which one of those two things do you think will benefit that young man and other young boys like him? Because what is not happening right now is that the Republicans are... I haven't finished, but I haven't actually finished.
He's unhinged.
You asked me a question. What I'm saying with facts.
You asked me a question.
I didn't finish it. You didn't let me finish it.
How much
Jojo is always and always will be unhinged.
How much awareness do you think that moment has given to brain cancer in America? How much funding do you think is happening right now? How much funding do you think is happening right now as a direct result of what happened?
Is it enough to get DOGE to restore the NIH funding for pediatric cancer research? Is it enough? Because right now, that is what's happening.
Wow.
So you tell me, Piers, how much is enough attention to get Elon Musk, who now apparently officially runs DOGE, even though Donald Trump told a federal court that...
Way to diverge and switch topics. Here we go. Democrats doing what they do best. Just switch topics, lie, and defend bad behavior. Why can't you just leave it at it was bad for the Democrats how they reacted? The left always has to go to but Trump card. And now they're pulling the but Elon card. This is all they ever do. No one falls for this anymore.
That he doesn't. How much attention is enough attention to get him to start funding that research again?
All right, let me bring in Matt Schlatt. Hang on. Matt Schlatt was shaking his head there. Matt?
Yeah, so they just passed a budget resolution out of the House of Representatives, which will actually spend more money than we spent last year. I don't like that. I'd like to see cuts. This is the old trope from Democrats that somehow you're compassionate when you spend money. Well, if they're right about that, we should have been able to solve literally every problem under Joe Biden because of our national debt. Second of all, if we don't ferret out the waste, fraud, and abuse, which starts with transparency, shouldn't we know where every grant is going from every one of these agencies? Shouldn't they withstand the public scrutiny? And if you're right, if you think DOGE is all about trying to kill kids with cancer, I don't think it's going to be very popular, and I don't think it'll continue very long. But the opposite
It's
is
not
happening.
very
You have
popular.
middle-class voters. You have middle-class voters that are saying, I can't afford to put gas in my car and food on my table. I can't afford all the taxes that come my way. And I think my government
Those prices have gone up under Donald Trump.
Loaded. What'd you say?
All right, let me bring it.
Piers,
Hang on, let me
Those
bring in.
prices
I
have
want to
gone
bring
up
in.
under Donald
Trump has been in office a little over a month, and they're literally blaming all the prices on Trump. It doesn't even make sense at all. It's going to take time for prices to decrease. I think gas can skyrocket down fast. We're going to start drilling soon, and then gas will go down. But when it comes to groceries and the economy, that is Biden and Kamala's mess 100%. But they can continue to think the Americans are dumb and that it's all Trump's fault 24/7 when it comes to everything that the last 4 years with this last administration did.
Trump.
Let me bring in Brian because Brian's been reacting.
45 days.
Okay, hang on. Let me bring in Brian.
You know,
wait.
Brian,
So it's not. He said that the little pain that they were going to experience was attributable to him. He said that.
Jojo, we take it in turn. Jojo, let me moderate the panel, please. Brian, you were shaking your head again there. But let me ask you, Brian, just from a human point of view, the optics of what the Democrats did in relation to that young man, DJ, well, obviously, never mind anything else, just politically, ludicrously self-harming. Everyone woke up today and went, what the hell? You can't even applaud a young boy?
Here's my problem with this argument. Where were you guys when Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert were screaming at Joe Biden during the State of the Union when he was trying to honor the soldiers
I was saying how
who
wrong
passed
it
away
was.
in Afghanistan?
I was saying how wrong it was.
People like Michael, and I understand, but people like Michael and others on the far right were not. Where were you when Marjorie Taylor Greene was decked out in her ridiculous MAGA gear looking like an imbecile? The problem I have with this, and I agree with JoJo here, the problem I have is it seems to me that people are using death and they're using people for political gain. For example, there were illegal immigrants that committed terrible crimes under the Trump administration as well. Why weren't those victims invited there yesterday? I feel like MAGA Republicans and Donald Trump, for example, uses a police officer's death.
I love how they always classify us voters as MAGA Republicans. No, we just love America. Can you just stop saying that and just call us Americans? You're going to win no extra voters by continuing to say that.
Is horrible. We all agree, a terrible thing, right? But there were plenty of police officers that passed away under or were murdered under the Trump administration as well. Why didn't Trump go to those wakes? Why weren't they invited yesterday? Why is it only people?
Brian, hang on, just to be clear then, you condemn all of it, do you? In other words, you condemn what Marjorie Taylor Greene did. So by definition, do you also condemn what the Democrats did last night? Are you an all-encompassing condemner of that kind of behavior, or only if it's Republican?
So I think that's a very fair characterization of my opinion, but I also will add this caveat to it. If the Democrats 5 or 10 minutes into the speech all walked out, I think they would have been better off doing that. If they walked in there wearing, I don't know, Zelensky gear, I would have been okay with that. Yes, they probably should have stood up and probably should have clapped in that moment. But at the same time, I want consistency. I don't even think they should have been sitting there. Yes, I think they looked a little bit ridiculous with their signs. I think they would have been better put just leaving the speech altogether.
All right, let me
This is ridiculous whataboutism.
I'm going to come back to
Totally
Michael. I'm going to hang on, Michael. I'm going to play you a couple more clips from last night.
Oh my God, Marjorie Taylor Greene showed up decked out in MAGA gear. Michael, give me a break.
Hang on, Jojo.
Yeah, Michael, where were you then, Michael?
Hang on.
Cancer survivor.
Can I place it? Let me play some clips for.
Yeah, Joe Biden was literally hating on half of the American voter base. Marjorie Taylor Greene just pointed out that because of his mess up in Afghanistan, 13 soldier members died. Huge difference between not applauding for a kid with cancer who wants to be a police officer when he grows up and 13 American soldiers dying because of terrible pullout that was done under the Biden-Kamala administration. Terrible comparison.
Play some clips first, then we'll continue the debate. Let me play the clip. Jojo, let me please moderate the panel. You always want to keep talking. Just pipe down. So, Michael, I want to play two clips.
One is down.
One is the Democrats not standing for the family of Lake and Riley. And one is the Democrats holding signs. Yeah, pipe up when I tell you to. Let's watch the Lake and Riley moment first.
Real quick, this part really pissed me off. The Democrats couldn't even stand up while he was shouting out Laken Riley, who was murdered by a disgusting human being that should have never been into this country to begin with, that was let in under Kamala and Biden right there. They didn't even clap for her family. Disgusting behavior.
It's called the Laken Riley Act. So Allison and Lauren, America will never, ever forget our beautiful Laken Hope Riley.
Again, Michael, to me, staggering that there were some Democrats there sitting down and not applauding that family. Whatever your politics, that's about a family of a woman whose life was desecrated in the most appalling manner. The least you can do is show the family some respect, put aside partisan politics. The second thing was the Democrats holding all these signs, which I just thought, we've got pictures of it here. I just thought it was so childish. It was so like sixth form common room stuff. You know, their little signs, false, 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 etc. I just thought that was embarrassing. And again, it comes back to my original thing, which is the Democrats just do not know how to tackle Trump, particularly Trump Mark II.
Yes, I was waiting for the signs to read, "I am rubber and you are glue," or something like that. It was totally pathetic. To your point on Laken Riley and the other victims of illegal aliens who have come into this country, one distinction between the Trump administration, first one, and the Biden administration is, of course, crime is always going to happen. It's a fallen world. But President Trump was able to bring illegal border crossings down to the lowest levels that we've had in 25 years. Just 6 months ago, we were told by Joe Biden that he couldn't close the border because he needed some new bill from Congress to give people amnesty. And it turns out that wasn't true. President Trump in 6 weeks was able to bring illegal crossings down to the lowest number in a quarter century, and he didn't need any new law to do it, which means what we all have known for a long time. The Democrats encouraged illegal aliens by the millions to come into this country, up to 11,000 people in a single day. And they didn't deport criminal aliens. And some of those criminal aliens, even the ones who had been arrested for prior offenses, went on to attempt to rape and kill American citizens. So that's the...
How can these two idiots on the right actually say that that's wrong and shaking their head? We have the facts. The numbers are on our side. Americans were getting raped, kidnapped, killed, tortured by illegals, and there were almost daily stories coming out about this, or robbing stores and then setting up outside these little, hey, I'll sell you for half price, which I just stole outside the store. It's disgusting behavior.
Difference? Are you actually going to try to do something about the problem? So I agree with you, Piers. I think that what the Democrats did last night with DJ, the 13-year-old cancer survivor, with the family of Laken Riley, I think what they did was terribly immoral, but I think it was also just basic political malpractice. How on earth are you going to disrespect a childhood cancer survivor? And by the way, they're the ones who made this political, because not only did they disrespect that young man in the room, but then afterward they went on television, and Nicole Wallace on MSNBC said, "Oh, it was a heartwarming
Well, I'm going to play that
and
clip.
I just hope he doesn't kill himself." Totally
I'm going to play that clip.
Talk about the substance of
hang
the
on,
speech at any point,
Hang on, Jojo. Jojo, I will come to you right after I play this clip that Michael just alluded to. Let's play this clip.
But I hope he never has to defend the United States Capitol against Donald Trump's supporters. And if he does, I hope he isn't one of the 6 who loses his life to suicide. And I hope he...
Disgusting human being. Nicole Wallace is such a disgusting, vile human being that she goes straight to January 6th. That is all the left uses. January 6th, the insurrection. Disgusting.
He isn't one who has to testify against the people who carried out acts of seditious conspiracy and then live to see Donald Trump pardon those people.
Now, that is an adult woman talking about a young boy with brain cancer potentially taking his life if he ever becomes a police officer. Can you, Jojo, not at least take a beat just to say that was reprehensible?
I can't speak for Nicole Wallace. What I would love to do is speak about the merits of the speech that Donald Trump gave last night.
Hang on. Speak
would
for
I
yourself.
say that?
No. What do you think of what she said?
Okay, I wouldn't say that.
What do you think of what she said?
But what I would say, and what I did say,
do you condemn it?
I wouldn't say that. But what I would say, I'm speaking for myself.
Do you condemn
I'm
it?
not condemning her comments. No, I wouldn't condemn. I can't condemn her comments because unfortunately we live in a world, Piers. Unfortunately, we live in a world where Donald Trump has pardoned those people who
what's it got to do with Donald Trump?
Our Capitol police officers. What does that have to do with Donald?
First off, January 6th, no cops died. Brian Sicknick died the next day after January 6th from, I believe it was a seizure. That has nothing to do with the insurrection that never happened. This is such disgusting behavior from these liberals that actually have a huge following. And now we can see why other liberals are so crazy in their conspiracy theories in regards to Trump, because there's people like this on big media pushing this propaganda.
Donald Trump. What does what have to do with Donald Trump?
You said you wouldn't have said what.
Did you ever condemn him for that?
No. Let me find out then.
What if he grows up to be someone who defends our capital?
Let me ask you, why wouldn't you have said what Nicole Wallace said then? If you don't condemn it, what's wrong with it?
Because I want to talk about the content of the speech that Donald Trump gave last night.
But I've also asked you a question, and I expect you to answer it.
Aside from Brian, wants to do that. You didn't answer my question about the NIH, so I'm not going to give that. I'm not going to.
I answered your question.
To be fair, I'm asking a question.
Can I add something?
Piers is
you're asking the questions, but Piers, don't you want to talk about the merits of the speech?
I'd like you to answer the questions that I ask you. I'd like you to answer my question.
I did answer the question several times. Those are not my words. Those are not my words. Those are Nicole Wallace's words. If you want to ask Nicole Wallace if she stands by her words, why don't you ask her to come on your show?
I'm asking you if you condemn them.
I can speak for myself. And for myself, I'm not. Again, why don't you ask Nicole Wallace how she feels about what she said, and ask me about my opinions? Do you want? Am I here to talk about Nicole Wallace or to talk about?
No, it's fine. Jojo, it's fine.
Am I Nicole Wallace?
You've made it clear. You do not want to condemn her words.
You didn't answer my question about the NIH either.
That's fine.
I did not say that. Condemn is an awfully strong term.
It's not my job to answer your questions. You're on my show.
No, it's not my job to answer for Nicole Wallace. It's my job to answer for Nicole Wallace.
You've made your point. You made your point. Let me ask Brian.
Anytime he has these liberals on the show, I'm always thinking, what is the point? And then I always come to conclusion, anytime they open their mouths, they just expose themselves. I guarantee every time this woman is on any panel, she is turning more leftist to the right. No common sense. It's always but Trump or but Elon. No facts at all. All feelings and no facts. And that's the Democrat Party in a nutshell for you.
Brian, the same question.
So can we talk about the merits of the actual speech now?
I'll come back to you. You wouldn't answer the question. I'm going to ask Brian the same question. Brian, would you condemn what Nicole Wallace said?
It's a ridiculous question.
So I'll answer your question, but I want to start out by saying this to what Jojo was saying. You have a bunch of Capitol police officers that were beaten with their own batons, people that were convicted of seditious conspiracy. I find it interesting that MAGA Republicans find it convenient to only back the blue when it helps them with their narrative. I think that's...
Bro, your side was the one that defunded the cops. Are you kidding me? While letting BLM, Palestine protests, attack cops, try to burn down police stations during the BLM riots. It's amazing people like this have big platforms. It amazes me. That's why I have hope that one day I will be to this level, because we have people with no brains that are on these platforms.
That's what Jojo was talking about. Now, I wouldn't have said that statement either. But at the same point, I think...
What's up, Squid Man? Yeah, soy boy, 100%.
I think I understand what she was... I don't think she said it very well. I believe the point that she was trying to make is you have these Capitol police officers. Some of them have lost their lives, were beaten with their own batons. Some of them have traumatic brain injury. But yet, why didn't Donald Trump invite any of those people? I'm just wondering. So you can't have it both ways here. While I don't like the comment that was made, I also don't like the fact that MAGA Republicans seem to back the blue only when it's convenient for them. I want to say one other thing really quickly about Michael.
One person was killed in political violence on January 6th, and it was a Trump supporter who was killed by a trigger-happy cop.
Okay. Ashley Babbitt, one unarmed Trump supporter who fought for our military, was killed on January 6th. That is the only person that died on January 6th. So if this was an insurrection, the worst day in our country's history, they compared it to 9/11 and World War II, saying it's worse than that. Why was there no deaths besides one unarmed Trump supporter? They can never answer that. Also, that woman, Jo, is annoying as hell. Yes, I agree. She is utter cringe. You were right, Squid Man.
Okay, so I want to respond to that right now, and that nonsense that you just said.
Brian Sicknick couldn't be reached for comment, could he, Michael?
Brian Sicknick, hold on a second. Brian Sitnick died the next day. And for you to claim, hold on a second. Give me 30 seconds.
What did that have to do with Trump?
Excuse me.
It's in the autopsy.
Give me 30 seconds. Can I finish my point, please, to what you just said? And all I'll need is 30 seconds to do so. If you are making the case on this national show that Brian Sitnick's death the next day had nothing to do with January 6th,
where's your proof?
then you are an
I'm not
imbecile,
making that
sir,
point.
with
The
all due
medical
respect.
examiner made that point.
Just
Yep,
just look at what the
Reprehensible.
scientists
What a hill to die on.
ridiculous.
Great job, Michael.
Great job, Michael. The hill to die on, even though we're the party that defunded the police and turned the military and our police into a laughing stock with this trans organization that you guys pushed. You guys have no room to talk or judge.
Oh, let me bring in.
Great job.
I'm just
Michael.
reciting
Give
what the
me a
medical
fucking
record
break.
said.
Let me bring in Matt
Your
here.
false
Let-
accusation.
All right,
Okay, so
let me bring
So
in.
we can
I'm glad. Let me
Shameful.
just say,
Shame on you.
I'm glad, Jojo, you now find things disgusting. It's interesting what you find disgusting and what you're not prepared to find disgusting.
The
because
death of a
you
police
didn't-
officer, Piers? We're talking about the death of a police officer. You're talking about
Yeah,
the
you're
actual
lying
death of
about
a
how
police
the
officer.
death
Piers,
occurred.
I
Yeah.
know,
That's
you
right.
You're
know that
contradicting
those
the medical
pardons were
examiner.
wrong. I
I'd
know
love
you
to
know
get
that
Pierce's
because you've said
question.
it.
That would
And
be
I
great.
know that you stand with those officers. So
Are you
I
talking to
cannot
me?
believe that you would defend Michael Knowles
You're talking
dragging
to
that
me?
man's life.
Wow.
If
I
you're
cannot
asking me,
believe
if
that.
you're
Greg,
asking
I'm
me,
just-
He was alive after January 6th. It's plain and simple. So that has nothing to do with Trump or Trump supporters. This woman is an idiot.
Reading the news report.
if you're
of the
asking me for
medical
my
examination.
opinion, if you want my opinion about January 6th, I thought what happened was a complete disgrace. It shamed America. It should never
Thank
have
you.
happened. I also
you.
felt that a lot of the
Thank you.
people were given far too lengthy prison sentences. And I also felt that by comparison to what happened to the people who caused a lot of damage to property and who attacked police officers during the Black Lives Matter riots,
Yes.
there was a very
Which
good,
she
strong argument
supported.
that there was
Which
there was a
he
double
supported.
standard and hypocrisy about the way that the left and the right treated these things when it came to their own side. So that's my view. Let me bring in Matt here.
Pierce, can I just finish
Matt,
my
The death
point
of
real
Officer
quick?
Sicknick, though, sir.
all right, but
The death of
okay,
Officer Sicknick.
okay. Let Brian finish his point. Then I'll go to Matt. Brian.
I appreciate it. Just really quickly, 30 seconds. Going back to what Michael was saying about the clapping, I just wanted to comment on that real quickly.
Right.
There were a lot of people clapping when Donald Trump said that the war was going to be over in 24 hours. A lot of Republicans like you were clapping when Donald Trump said he was going to hire a special prosecutor to go after Hillary Clinton and he was going to build a wall and Mexico is going to pay for it. Who cares if people
Same
clap?
talking
I don't care if
points.
Elizabeth Warren is standing up and clapping. You know what I care about is results. And right now, gas prices are up. Inflation is up.
This dude cares about results, yet he votes for Democrats, which had record illegals coming across for 4 years, which had record inflation the past 4 years, which had record crime the past 4 years. Shall I continue? It's just these people vote off zero facts. It's all emotion.
The war in the Ukraine is still going on. What's going on in the Middle East is a disaster right now. So you can stand up and you can clap, Michael, until the cows come home, but that won't change the fact that Donald Trump is failing this country.
Okay.
Well,
Matt,
most
your
people,
response.
over 3/4 approved of the speech, and his approval rating's above water. So
That's
I don't
right.
know. Most
Okay, well,
people
70%
disagree
of
with you, I
Republicans
suppose.
think.
And also
Not
the
70% of
presidency.
Hold on.
Look how mad they
presidency.
look.
70%.
Hang on.
Look how mad these two unhinged liberals are compared to Republicans. Look, they're just sitting there, just smiling, laughing at these clowns. I find it hilarious.
The point,
70% of
Brian,
Republicans
the
think
point,
that Donald
Brian-
Trump won the 2020 election.
Brian, the point I would make is that it's not actually about political stuff. It's just there should be in every State of the Union speech by any president, left or right, Democrat, Republican, doesn't matter to me. There should be moments of humanity when actually everybody
Okay.
puts the politics to one side and simply says, you know
Pierce, I
what,
agree.
a young man with brain cancer gets made a member of the Secret Service and it's the most moving of moments. We just applaud that for what it is. We don't need to invoke January
Pierce,
the
I-
6th.
Pierce,
We don't
I
need to
agree.
say
Pierce,
all these other things.
Pierce, I don't disagree
You're not
with
wrong,
you
but it
there,
was a
but you
political
have Donald
speech
Trump
that we're not
But you
talking
have,
about.
hold on, you have Donald Trump calling Elizabeth Warren Pocahontas. He's calling the left all crazy people up there on that stage. I agree with you, Pierce, but there has to be decorum with the guy who's actually making the speech as well. Can we criticize
I would
him
remind
for him
you.
attacking
I would
people?
remind you. By the way, somebody who would have been a much better bet to be the Democrat nominee in the last election of Michelle Obama. When they go low, we go high. It seems that the Democrats now are like
Not
when
today.
Trump goes low. When Trump goes low, we're going to go lower.
No, we don't do that.
It's a losing strategy. Let me bring in Matt, who's been waiting very patiently.
He incited an attack on that chamber, Piers.
All right, let Matt speak, please. Jojo, let Matt speak. Jojo. Matt, I'm sorry. Wait. Matt, your response.
Okay, so let's go through all this. The fact is, no one's saying that you have to cheer for Donald Trump. You can dislike all of his policies. You can hate him or loathe him personally. What Pierce is trying to say, what Michael is trying to say is that good politicians like Barack Obama and Bill Clinton, Democrats who have been successful nationwide, use these opportunities to try to appeal to all America. And it's not just Americans who are watching this speech. The whole world is watching this speech. So no one's trying to convince you guys to fall in love with Donald Trump. And the secondary thing here is the reason why the American people are increasingly divorcing themselves from this socialist Democratic Party is because they don't seem to have those patriotic ideals that previous Democrats had. For instance, it seemed like there was a time when everybody was pro-cop. It doesn't mean that every cop did the right thing in every circumstance, but generally you wanted to fund cops. When the Democratic Party glommed onto this BLM idea that somehow you didn't need cops, when I do these CPACs all over the world, I had liberals come up to me in these countries say, how can you be anti-cop? That's insane. How about standing up for the military, being pro-military? These were things that we held in common, and there were dozens of Democrats that would stand with Republicans on questions of national security, question on funding these things. What you saw last night is that it's become vogue for Democrats to separate themselves from absolutely everything, including normalized things that everyone should be able to accept because it's associated with Trump. Now, people can make a moral argument that they have to do that because Trump is malign. I don't agree with that. But what they're doing is committing the most heinous, stupid political act, which means they're telling the people who just voted him out of office that they haven't learned anything or listened.
I agree. And what the Democrats need, honestly.
Hang on. We were going to actually talk about what he said.
Hang on. Don't all talk at once. I'm just going to make a point that I think what the Democrats are desperately crying out for is somebody new and fresh and exciting, like a Bill Clinton, like a Barack Obama.
But the problem is they have no one. They've been talking about Mike Waltz Tampon Tim as the next president. They've been talking about Pete Buttigieg. These people are a joke. They have no one good on their side. And we have firepower on our side. We have Josh Hawley. We have Tucker Carlson, who could even run. We have all of the Trump family. I mean, the list goes on. I could think of probably at least 30. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert. I could go on for at least half an hour. The Democrats have nothing, no one good on their side.
Who can burst through all this ridiculous, frenzied anti-Trump nonsense and present an actual vision for the Democrats and for America that will galvanize new support. Because right now, I just see the Democrats are trapped in this awful Trump derangement syndrome. Yeah, well, Brian, I've got a question. I want to come to you, but I'm going to go first of all to Jojo on this because it's about women. I want to play a clip to you. This is where Donald Trump talked about trans athletes in women's sport.
I also signed an executive order to ban men from playing in women's sports.
Common sense.
3 years ago, Peyton McNabb was an all-star high school athlete, one of the best, preparing for a future in college sports. But when her girls' volleyball match was invaded by a male, he smashed the ball so hard in Peyton's face, causing traumatic brain injury, partially paralyzing her right side and ending her athletic career. It was a shot like she's never seen before. She's never seen anything like it.
Also, I've been seeing Democrats across X, Twitter today, joking about that happening, thinking that that is funny that a biological man pretending to be a woman injured an innocent young girl that bad. Disgusting behavior from the left. But what do we expect?
Jojo, do you agree with him that the issue of trans athletes in women's sport is damaging to women's rights and negatively impacts on women?
What I would love to discuss actually is
can you just answer the question?
He's going to do the butt Trump card. And a majority of Americans are for this. We don't think men should be in women's sports. Women should be in men's sports. That's why for history, our country's history, we've had them divided because we have our strengths, we have our weaknesses, and it just works better that way. Keep men out of women's sports and in their locker rooms and safe spaces. It's really that simple.
Please,
and the fact,
just answer. Please answer the question.
I don't think this is an issue this wasn't a State of the Union.
I'm asking you a question
specifically, but this. I'd like to talk about how we're not talking about the price of eggs.
Oh,
we're not
there we
talking
go.
about the price of gas. We're not talking about the cost of living or what the stock market did yesterday. We're not talking about what he's actually doing.
About the speech.
This is an issue, PIERS, which impacts such a small percentage
do you want to answer the question or not?
The American people care about the cost of living. They care about the price of eggs. They care about the stock market crashing. These are the things they care about, PIERS. Instead of that, we're talking about these side issues.
If you're not going to answer the question.
So according to her, the thousands of women that have had missed opportunities performing in sports, it's a small, not even important issue. That's what the left thinks. They think it's not an important issue, hence why they're still pushing it so hard with these dudes pretending to be women. It's disgusting.
I'm going to mute you.
The merits of
let me bring in Brian.
Brian.
If we're talking about random...
Sorry, this is ridiculous.
I will answer your question, Pierce.
Okay, can we just, please? Jojo just refused to answer my question.
Hey, did you know that SMUD is now paying Sacramento homeowners thousands of dollars upfront to put a
substance of his speech?
Let me ask Brian. Brian, do you agree with what Trump did about trans athletes in women's sport? Do you agree it was unfair and impacts negatively on women?
Of course he won't.
I will answer your question directly if you could give me 45 seconds to do so.
They can never just answer the question. All they do is deflect. This is just ridiculous.
So,
no, I just want to answer the question.
I feel like
you can't
if you're born a man,
they're cold.
You can't all keep doing pre-planned speeches about something else.
I'm answering your question directly.
Okay.
I'm answering your question directly. If you're born a man, transition to a woman, I have never believed that you should be on the same playing field as a woman. However,
here we go.
This is not a top 5 issue or a top 10 issue in polls around the country.
That's a lie.
It's not. In what poll,
It is not.
Pierce? In what poll?
It is.
You know what it comes under?
You
know what it comes under?
Sorry, I keep pausing it. There's just a lot of good comments that I need to comment on here. Or not good comments, just these Democrats aren't the brightest tool in the shed. Keep talking this way. I want them to keep saying these things over and over because the more they talk this craziness and not answer questions and show that they're in a cult, no offense, but you are in a cult, the more that are going to come to our side, and we welcome you. Common sense, come to our side, guys.
You know what it comes under?
Do any of you know a trans athlete?
Joe, you've had your chance. You didn't answer the question. I'm talking to Brian.
Do you know one?
I'm talking to Brian. The point is, Brian, it comes under this umbrella. Comes under the umbrella of common sense, what Trump calls the common sense revolution. And he says America is no longer going to be woke. That resonated, I think, third with people in America. And here's why. Because they had that one advert, you may remember, Kamala's for they, them, Donald Trump's for you. The New York Times, a liberal newspaper, said that could have moved the needle in the election by 3 points.
So Pierce, let me respond
Brian,
to what you just said, Pierce.
Hang on, Brian. Brian,
you don't
here's my second clip I want to play you. This is all the Democrats wearing pink. Democrat women. Take a look at this.
Yeah, these women proclaim that they're for women and women's rights while they protect men pretending to be women in their safe spaces. So Democrats are not for women's rights. They are for woke nonsense.
Oh, they're just pictures. Okay. We've got an overlay here. This is Democrat women, including trans Congresswoman Sarah McBride, wearing pink in protest at, quote, Trump's policies, which are negatively impacting women and families. Now, forgive me, Brian, but the utter, brazen, laughable double standard of wearing pink to support...
I'm going to give you a double standard.
Hang on. Let me finish. To protest at Trump policies negatively impacting women, when they all think it's fine for trans athletes to destroy the integrity of women's sport. Explain that to me.
Yeah,
sure. You talk about protecting women and the gall of them to be wearing these outfits. when in half the states in this country, a woman cannot get an abortion and in some instances has to drive to another state.
Here we go. Therefore, women's and women's rights, but women who don't feel comfortable with men coming in their dressing room pretending to be women, being these transformers, they're not for it. You're a bigot. You're a transphobe, according to the Democrat Party. These people are such clowns. And this is why I will continue to say, keep saying this crazy nonsense, because you're just going to turn more Democrats off, and we're going to keep on winning elections, and they're going to be election landslides. You think Trump won big time this time? See next time.
Pornography should have no bearing over a woman's body. So if the Republicans on this panel care about women and care about women's safety, then let's talk about the fact that in some of these states, if a woman is raped or the victim of incest, she has to be forced to have that rape baby. What I want is consistency, Piers. I answered your question. I played 2 sports in college. Yes, I agree. If you're born a man, transition to a woman, I don't believe you should be competing with women. I've been very consistent on that. However, don't tell women what to do with their bodies. Don't tell women that it's okay. You should just drive to another state. If this is about protecting women, then you guys on this panel should be with me across the board and try to be consistent for
once. Calm down,
Swayboy.
You don't just shout when you want to.
On this panel.
You know what? You know what? As a woman on the panel, you don't. You just chose not to answer my.
Respond to the question.
No, you choose to. You choose not to answer my questions. Brian answered my question. Therefore, he has my respect.
There we go.
I'm going to go.
There we go. Now she's calling Trump a racist. Yet there is zero proof of that false claim. Literally, this is just a joke. These Democrats just go in circles and say the same frickin' talking points. Nothing new.
Michael now.
You're talking about an adjudicated rapist who brags
well, if we're talking about not telling women what to do with their bodies, then I would encourage you, Brian, not to tell the roughly half of women in America not to go take their bodies and drive to the polling place and vote for pro-life candidates, which is what happens. I want to clarify here. You're saying that the women on the Democrat side wore pink jackets. I'll try to clear it up for you. About half of women are pro-life.
It wasn't well said.
Put it in blunter terms so that you can understand it. But if you want to tell them what to think and what to do with their bodies, I suppose that's your prerogative.
I very much understand it, Michael.
Hold on one second. My question is, you're saying that the pink jackets represent the attack on women's rights, but that the only 2 issues we're talking about here are abortion. I'm sorry. I thought that was your implication, that there was an attack on women's rights.
No, I mean, maybe I need to clear things up for you, Michael, because don't put words in my mouth.
Why were they wearing pink? Why were they wearing pink?
Go really slow, Brian. Go really slow for him.
Okay, I'll be very clear to you, Michael, and I'll repeat what I just said, and maybe you can get the MAGA wax out of your ears, okay? I'll explain it to you, okay?
Well, hurry up.
There are a lot of women in this country that I speak to, apparently you don't, that believe Donald Trump is a threat to their rights. Now, a lot of different rights.
Which rights?
Abortion.
Yeah, which rights? They say they're a threat to his rights. There has been no rights taken away since Trump's been in office, yet they say this every day on repeat. This
is one of them, Michael.
Abortion.
So, Michael, hang on.
Okay, that's what I said.
There are women in this country. Michael, I'm trying to clear it up for you.
Something called the SAVE Act,
Michael, I need another 20 seconds.
Including your pro-life women.
Okay.
Michael, I'm
so
trying.
Far you've agreed
Michael,
with
hang
me.
on. Michael, I'm trying to clear it up for you, as you just said, okay?
Well, hurry up.
So I understand you're obsessed with this I understand you're obsessed with this transgender issue, but even though it probably doesn't affect you in any way, shape, or form.
Okay, I'm glad you've clarified.
He's trying to answer you.
No, you were not. You were not totally right. You're totally wrong.
So I just.
You're not letting me even answer your question.
You're not saying
no one can hear. If you talk over each other, nobody hears any of you. So
let me finish, Michael.
Brian, finish your point, and Michael, you respond.
The point I was trying to make is that if the idea with transgenders and women's sports is about women's safety, which I do tend to agree with,
no, you don't.
Then you should also agree with the fact that women in this country, some of whom are raped or victims of incest, are forced to have that baby.
Very
if you care about women's rights and women's safety, then let's do it across the board, Michael. Did I clear that up for you, Michael?
Why is he so mad?
All right, Michael.
You cleared up that what I said was right. So I guess my question then is, if the pink represents the Democrats' advocacy of abortion and transgenderism in children, then what you're saying is that women's rights to Democrats are the right to kill their own children and to castrate the ones who survive.
Here
is
we
that
go.
right?
Yep.
Do I have
right
that
to kill their own children. That's
your.
That's
what abortion is.
No, hold on. I'll answer it. I'll answer it. That's your
It wasn't a
definition
question. It
of
was a
what a
statement.
legal
But you
abortion
can answer if
is.
you like.
Okay.
But you'll
okay,
let
and
them
I'm
Look how
show
mad
up
they
and
look.
get killed in a
Look
school
how
shooting,
mad-
right, Michael? That's how pro-life
Say it
is.
Look how mad these two unhinged dumbasses look right here. Sorry, I'm trying not to cuss, but these two are so fucking stupid. I just can't stand people like these two on the right.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh,
I was
before,
trying
okay,
to
before
hear
I,
That's another
hang on,
speaking over
hang
each
on.
other.
Before I go
You're
to
so
Matt, for his,
pro-life that
before
you
I
won't
go
do
to Matt, I'm
anything
going to
about
ask
feeding
Jojo.
starving children.
Jojo, I'm
What?
going to ask you a question, a
Starving
simple
children?
question.
What are you talking
Give me a
about?
simple answer, Jojo. What is a woman, Jojo?
She can't even answer. Watch.
Well, a woman is whatever. If you feel like you're a woman, then you're a woman. I know I'm a woman. I identify as a woman.
So if I feel
know
like
what
a
that
woman
means
right
to
now,
me.
I'm a woman?
I'm not threatened.
Hang on.
What would you
If
feel
you feel like you're a woman,
Hang
it's
on.
your identity, sure.
So hang on,
If
just
you-
to be clear.
I'm sorry. What's a
heard you.
man? Piers, what's your
Just to
definition
be
of a
clear.
man?
Wow.
Just
I'm
to
a
be
woman.
clear.
What's your
just to be
definition
clear,
of a man?
So just to be clear, if I feel like a woman right now, I am a woman. Is that your position?
That's what
And
you said.
if you feel like you are a woman, Piers, and you want to walk around identifying as a woman, it is not my prerogative to tell you that you
Am I a
cannot.
woman?
I identify as a woman. What is
Am
a
I a
man,
woman?
Piers? What is a man?
Oh, a man
Is
is an
Donald Trump a
adult
man?
human.
Can I,
That's it.
Pierce? Can I
Male.
jump into that question?
Adult
An adult human.
male.
An adult human male.
Adult human male is a
Can I-
man.
An adult
yes.
human male.
Can I
Yes.
finally get
And
to
a
this?
woman.
This is why I say the Democrat Party is a cult. Right here, they can't even identify what the difference is between a man and a woman. It's what I feel. Exactly going back to my previous points. They vote based off feelings, zero facts. And that's why these two on the right are brought onto these shows, because they look like idiots. The whole world's laughing at them, and they think people take them as serious when they're not. They are not serious people at all. I say give it 2 to 3 years, and no one will be listening to creeps like this on the right anymore. Pretending men can be women and women can be men is just a freaking joke. And the fact that they're even acknowledging this shows how non-serious these type of people are.
So like
is an
55
adult
pounds of
human
cake makeup is not right.
female. Adult
Can I finally
human
get to say
female.
That's who a woman is. I am a woman.
Human
I identify
male.
as a woman.
Okay,
Can I
but just to
raise
be
my
clear.
hand?
Pierce, can I answer that
Yes,
question?
hang on, Matt. I'm going to bring Matt in. I just want to just
Oh, Matt,
sorry to
you
double
really
down
need
on
to
this.
stay out of this one, friend.
I just want to be clear,
wanna
you
answer
don't want
Jojo.
to go here, Matt.
Jojo said if you feel like a woman, you're a woman. So
Yeah.
Jojo, final time. If I now say I
It's an
feel like a
identity.
woman,
It's not about
no, sorry,
biology.
I'm asking
It's
you a
an identity.
question. Stop talking. If I now
Yeah.
say I feel like a woman, am I a woman?
Yep.
Am I a
apparently
woman?
to
If I
her.
say I
If you
feel
feel
like
like a woman, you're a woman.
And a liberal said,
Wow.
What does
yeah.
that mean, though? What does that even mean?
And what
What
does
does
it
that
Wow.
mean,
Pierce, I'd like to answer
why,
that.
And why do you care so much?
What does
why
it
do you
mean?
care so
That
much?
was
That I can
stupid.
just
And
say
Michael,
I'm a
were
woman
you
and
in
you
a
think I'm a woman.
conflict
Let
with
me bring
another
in Matt.
guy? Do you
Let
want
me
to
bring
talk
in
about
Matt.
what a man
I
is?
was an idiot.
Even Brian has rolled his eyes at the lunacy of what you just said.
Can I?
Let me bring in Matt.
No, here's
Oh,
what
bring in
Brian
Matt.
didn't roll his
Don't
eyes
care.
at
I need
me.
20 seconds.
Brian didn't roll his eyes at me.
Don't
No, no,
care.
I want Matt to have 20
No,
seconds.
Pierce.
Matt
Yeah, I
can have
just-
20
I just
seconds.
wanna
Can I
Brian,
answer that
I'll
question?
come to you, Brian.
I find
Wait
it-
your turn.
I'll be
Everybody
really
wait
fast.
How
their
many
turn.
allegations have there been against
Matt.
Matt Schlapp of groping
Matt,
young
I'm
men?
going to ask you,
Women?
Matt, I'm going to ask you. I'm going to ask you as a woman because I'm feeling like a woman, and according to JoJo, that means I'm a woman.
That's fine.
So speaking to
Hey,
you
more
as a
power
woman,
to you,
What
Piers.
an idiot.
Matt, to me, that answer she just gave perfectly epitomizes the ridiculous place the Democrats have now found themselves,
Yep.
where
right.
anyone in
And this is-
self-identity world can go, I'm a woman, and everybody has to say you're a woman. It is
And it's
bullshit.
really- And it's
Yep.
really not a question of what somebody wants to be in their individual life at all. Jojo asked this question, why do you care? I don't think anybody cares that much. It's when those choices start to impact other people. The reason why biological men-
Also, not just impact people, impacts the children, because when you teach this gender affirming care bullshit, it messes the children's up. Then they think they're something that they're not, when in reality, you should accept what God gave you and who you are. God created you. You are perfect as you are. You don't need to change. Don't listen to these idiots. They are in a cult. They have been brainwashed, and they say nothing smart.
and being in girls'
Done this
sports
on
is
the
such a
same
problem for
conversation.
moms and dads is because it starts to affect other people. When you get to determine what science is from a group of people that are always lecturing people like me that you don't know what the science is,
Yep.
and they won't actually go back to their biology textbooks from 3rd and 4th and 5th grade
Yep.
to answer these basic questions. Is that child in the womb a life? Well, of course it is. Is it a human life? Well, of course it is. Is gender determined while that child is in the womb? Well, of course it is. Now, you can disagree with what life has legal standing or not, but you can't deny the science behind all this. Once we start losing our societal moorings around these basic truths, we can't get anywhere politically.
Yep.
I don't.
Okay, I want to play. I want to play Brian. I want to play Brian a clip here. Brian, hang on. I want to move on. This crew. We only got 5 minutes left. I want to play a clip of Ben Shapiro, your namesake, talking about Derek Chauvin, the cop who's doing life for murdering George Floyd. Let's take a look at what Ben said.
If we are issuing pardons, however, there is one person that President Trump should pardon from federal charges forthwith.
I agree.
It would be incredibly controversial, but I think that it's absolutely necessary.
Yes.
That person is Derek Chauvin. President Trump should, in fact, pardon Derek Chauvin. He should. He should pardon him his federal charges.
I agree. Because of that exact case with George Floyd, which he was a crackhead and a drug addict and a criminal who held up a pregnant woman at gunpoint to rob her. This is the left's hero right here. They literally put a statue of George Floyd, like saying he's like the next God or Christ. It was embarrassing. And this is what stirred up and started the BLM riots. Also, it's already been exposed in the diagnostics after he died that he died from a fentanyl overdose. He was not killed at all. No cop should be in prison forever for that exact situation. And I feel terrible for Derek Chauvin. I'm saying it right now on record, and I think he should get pardoned by President Trump. He has served plenty of time. Sure, he made a mistake. I don't really know cops, like when it comes to holding people down, like what they're allowed to do and not allowed to do. But from what I saw in the video, the dude was a drug addict. He died over fentanyl poisoning, and that Derek Chauvin should be released. That's my opinion, though.
What's your response to that, Brian?
Absolutely and utterly absurd. First of all, we know that Derek Chauvin is a murderer. He's a convicted murderer. And Michael likes to talk about autopsies. Let's talk about autopsies. There were 2 autopsies in that case. Both found that he didn't die of natural causes or drugs. He died because of Derek Chauvin's knee on his neck for 8 minutes when he was on his stomach and his hands were behind his back in handcuffs. Ben Shapiro is a moron. Derek Chauvin is a murderer. And he, in my opinion, Chauvin should, the rest of his life, he should be behind bars. For Ben Shapiro, who is one of the biggest right head talking points for you guys, to say that Derek Chauvin deserves a pardon is absolutely and utterly absurd. And I wonder if George Floyd was white and Derek Chauvin was black and the exact same thing.
Bro, there's literally videos on X, aka Twitter, all day, every day of black people. No offense, I love black people. My best friend's black, but black people attacking white people just based off their skin color. Also, Asian people were getting attacked during the BLM riots. Every race was getting attacked. Nothing said. Crickets. So that kind of just proves your point actually incorrect there.
Happened. I wonder if Ben Shapiro would be saying the same thing about Derek Chauvin. Obviously, the answer is no.
That's an assumption.
Okay, Michael, I want to read. Hang on, everyone. I want to read, Michael, that in his letter to President Trump, Ben Shapiro wrote, "The massive overt pressure on the jury to return a guilty verdict, regardless of the evidence or any semblance of impartial deliberation." He said, noting that even elected lawmakers prejudged the outcome of the trial and took to national media to create pressure on the jury to go along with their preferred narrative. So, Ben, they're arguing that if it hadn't been for the global outcry over the video clip, which we all saw, which, by the way, I thought was shocking and outrageous, and I personally don't agree with Ben that Chauvin should get a pardon.
Of course you don't.
But it's an interesting argument that he's making here. What do you think of it?
Well, it pains me to say anything nice about my friend Ben Shapiro, but I do think that he is totally spot on here. One also has to remember that there are state charges and federal charges here. The federal charge is just a civil rights charge. And I don't think there's any evidence that Derek Chauvin violated George Floyd's civil rights. I mean, to the point that Brian just made, he brought up the medical examiner's report, the autopsies. I guess the question—
Shut up, Jojo.
I think we're aware, my dear. The question is, how much fentanyl was in George Floyd's system? Since you read the report,
not why he died. Okay, so let me ask you.
He doesn't even know.
Just a simple question.
Let me ask you a question.
You have the answer to the question?
Okay.
Was it
I understand that there was fentanyl in his system, but that wasn't the cause of death.
Was it
like
that
wasn't the cause of death?
Legal limit, or the lethal
what was the
limit,
cause of death, Michael? Irrelevant.
Irrelevant.
What was the cause of death, Michael? Answer my question.
So are you going to—
These liberals are unhinged. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. I'm going to say it again. It's amazing dummies like this have a platform.
charge fentanyl and murder
the
then?
real answer is fentanyl.
Answer the question.
I guess another...
so the coroner is with deep state, right?
I just answered it 3 times.
The coroner was
What's
deep
the
state,
answer,
right, Michael?
Michael,
Yeah,
Michael, in both
keep
of the
trying to
autopsies,
answer
what
your
did
question. Yeah.
What was the cause of death in both of the autopsies?
What was
George
the
Floyd
cause
died
of
of
death?
fentanyl, and most of us know it.
What
George
was the
Floyd
cause
also
of
said the
death?
gun blazed long before the officer's knee was on his
Pierce,
back.
your
And
guest
on
is
Yes, bro. JoJo, so damn annoying. I see your stupid ass tweets on Twitter. Yeah, she is a different type of stupid, and so is this idiot right next to her. I've never even heard of the dude right next to her, but man, he's just as dumb as she is.
spreading
Oh my God.
misinformation.
He's not dealing in reality.
Okay.
Piers'
Time
not
out.
dealing in reality.
Let me ask the one person who, by the way,
Michael
Matt,
just says
thank
whatever
you.
he wants.
Got to thank Matt.
What?
This morning on Take It Off Today, an incredible transformation on TikTok. Her weight loss video went viral with.
Hey, Sharon.
For just very quietly and calmly waiting his turn to speak. It's a very
Yes, it's
unusual
because I
thing
have
these
five.
days.
I have 5 daughters. That's why I'm very used to this.
Great
I'm
answer.
almost done
So
there.
you're a very patient man by necessity. Let me ask you, Matt, what's your view of this? I see Ben Shapiro's argument. I don't really agree with it, but I see the argument. What's your view?
So let me just start I'll go through it really fast. I was for the commutations and pardons on J6 because I felt like they got an unfair treatment in DC and 4 years of prosecution by persecution. I look at what happened in Minnesota. I don't think there's any way a cop in that situation with what came down from around the globe and with the media behind it could have expected to get a fair trial. That being said, I think on all these questions of our jurisprudence, one of the presidential prerogatives very clearly in the Constitution on federal charges, as Michael points out, is that the president has undisputed, unlimited pardoning power. And I think when you've had a legal system that's been so off the rails, it's actually been harder for white guys to get justice than minorities in a lot of these major cities because of the woke judges. I think the president should look at all these cases. And I think he should.
This dumb lib right here is acting surprised, but if you guys just go on X for 1 hour, you could probably find hundreds of videos of white people just getting attacked because the skin color that they were born with.
People every Friday. And I think when people have been tortured by the system, even guilty, there comes a point when you have to stop.
Okay, well, it's quite obvious to me that JoJo.
Black cops who get pardoned if you're a white.
It's quite obvious to me.
If you're a white cop who kills a black guy, you get a pardon. Okay.
Quite obvious to me that JoJo agrees with every word you just say, Matt. So we're going to leave the debate there. Thank you all very much indeed.
All right, guys, what a crazy video. I'm going to remove this and set up something from X that I saved a couple videos that we will react to in regards to what the people thought of Trump's state to Congress yesterday and what they thought about it. And it seems like, let's see, there it is right there. As you can see, y'all. Oh, sorry. Let me scroll there. Let's see. So, CBS poll approval. This is CBS, left-wing CBS. CBS approval poll of President Trump's speech shows that 76% of Americans approved. Democrats sat through the whole thing smug as can be while
interrupting of Trump's speech was inappropriate. Only 20% of speech watchers thought what Green did was appropriate, Aaron. During the course of the event, which is wanting to get reaction on Congressman Al Green's antics and being ejected, 80% of speech watchers said that the Democratic congressman's interrupting of Trump's speech was inappropriate.
So, from the looks of it, it looks like majority of Americans agree with President Trump on what he said yesterday during the speech. Now, I saved just three people that we're going to react to. This is their public opinion of Trump's speech. Let's get started.
We're here tonight, and we just finished listening to President Trump's speech, and it was like magnificent. Me and my Patriot friends and everything. Let me tell you, didn't the Democrats show their asses tonight? What the hell is wrong with them? I don't know what's wrong with them. They have something's wrong with them. This was the most embarrassing. I mean, other countries are looking at us, and I know they have to be embarrassed. This is really embarrassing. I don't know if you don't like President Trump, but then you're embarrassing the whole damn country. Denied. We're leaving Trump Tower. I really, it's just horrible. It's horrible. And this cane walking Boulay, I'm glad they escorted him out. It's just really, really horrible, everyone. I don't know what's wrong with Democrats. They are just
a lot
dumb.
Yep.
And they're not going to exist in the future because what they did was just horrible. Anyway, Peggy Dotson, we're at Trump Tower. Hey, everybody, say hey.
So, yes, I've been seeing these type of videos played all throughout the day. Let's hear another one.
And I'm so glad I got to watch it. But if you just saw Lake and Raleigh's mom, I want you to remember that there's a representative who is a woman, and she voted against the Lake and Raleigh Act. So if you saw that mother and you saw that pain in her eyes, I want you to know that Jasmine Crockett chose to vote against the Lake and Raleigh Act. Let that sink in. After seeing that woman and the tears in her eyes and seeing that girl's sister, that Jasmine Crockett decided that it was okay to vote against that act.
There's another one. All right, I'll show you guys one more.
Speech last night. What did they do? Did they get together like on a call the week before and say, hey, everybody, we're not going to clap at all for the president at all. Even if we agree a little bit with what he's saying, we're not going to clap. We're going to sit here like this. We're going to pass out signs that say, you're not my king. You're a liar. You're a thief. Everyone's going to, because the Democrats love signs. We're going to hold up signs and we're going to make our point be known. We'll stand once when President Trump walks in, but we're not going to stand at all during the night. Never thought that I would be agreeing with something that Donald Trump has said, but here we are. It doesn't matter what I do. I could find the cure for the most deadliest disease, and these people still would not care. They would not stand. They would not. It's almost like they want Donald Trump to fail.
They do.
That's the impression that I got as a Democrat. It's like if Donald Trump fails for the next 4 years, we all fail. It was awful last night. You had Al Green getting dragged out of there after waving his cane, going, there's no mandate. Elizabeth Warren playing on her phone all night. I can't imagine sitting in front of the president and playing on my phone. Someone came into my comments on the post that I made yesterday, and they said, you didn't leave your party left you. That just, it hit a nerve with me, because this is not the Democratic Party that I have seen in the past. This is something entirely.
People are waking up, I'm telling you.
Donald Trump was going line by line and saying where all of the waste was.
Yep.
That still was not good enough. Saying we want proof, we want to see proof, we want numbers, they have been putting out reports every day. The reason why the Democrats are so upset is because their names are going to end up being tied to all this fraud, corruption, and wasted money.
Ding, ding, ding,
Why
ding,
else
ding,
would
ding.
they be so opposed to finding out the truth in spending and our tax dollars? Why would they be so upset? Who wouldn't want to know that information? Last night was
Criminals.
a freaking embarrassment as far as I'm concerned. And I never thought that I would say that, because I am not a Trump fan. I did not vote for Trump. If you follow me, you know that I did not. But last night, I saw a room filled with people that I didn't even recognize anymore.
What can I say? I'm not surprised. It's amazing to see the population waking up. We will accept you. We are America first. You should be America first. This is the end of that video. Hope you guys have a fantastic, blessed, peaceful night. Love you guys. Peace.